You saved 1,000. Maybe it took you 3 months, maybe 6, maybe you scraped it together from a tax refund and a couple of skipped nights out. And now it's sitting in your checking account, and you're wondering what to do with it. Here's what most people do. They spend it. Not all at once, not on something extravagant. Just gradually, on things that feel necessary in the moment. A car repair, a weekend trip, a few dinners that were supposed to be celebrations, and then the account is back to where it started. But here's what nobody tells you. That first $1,000 is not really about the money, it's a test, a signal, a decision point. And the people who end up wealthy, actually, quietly, consistently wealthy, they respond to it completely differently. Not because they earn more, not because they got lucky, because they understand something about money that most people never figure out. Let's talk about what that is. Thomas Stanley spent decades studying the wealthy in America. His research, captured in The Millionaire Next Door, revealed something that shocked a lot of people when it was published. Most millionaires don't look like millionaires. They don't drive luxury cars. They don't live in the biggest houses. They live below their means, methodically, almost boringly. And they do it because they figured out a principle early. The gap between what you earn and what you keep is the only number that actually builds wealth. Most people spend first and save what's left. Wealthy people save first and spend what's left. That sounds simple. It is simple, and it changes everything. So what does that actually look like with $1,000? The first thing a wealth-minded person does with $1,000 is not invest it, not yet. The first move is protection. Personal finance educator Dave Ramsey calls it a starter emergency fund. Financial planner Suze Orman calls it your foundation. The name doesn't matter, the function does. Before you invest a single dollar, you need a financial buffer that prevents you from going into debt the next time life breaks unexpectedly, and life always breaks unexpectedly. Your car needs a new alternator. Your kid gets sick. Your company has a slow quarter, and your hours get cut. Without a cash cushion, any one of those events sends you straight to a credit card. And the moment you're borrowing at 20% interest to cover emergencies, any investment gain you might have made becomes irrelevant. So if you don't have an emergency fund yet, $1,000 is your emergency fund. That's the move. Not glamorous, not exciting, but foundational. Now, let's say you already have that buffer. You've got 2 or 3 months of expenses sitting in a high-yield savings account. You've been building that for a while, and now you've got an extra 1,000 sitting on top of it. What do wealthy people actually do next? The next move is to eliminate the most expensive debt. Here's a concept called the guaranteed return. When you pay off a debt charging you 18% interest, you've just earned 18% on your money, guaranteed. No stock in the world offers a guaranteed 18% return. Paying down high-interest debt is the highest, safest, most certain return available to the average person. Behavioral economist Richard Thaler, who won the Nobel Prize in economics for his work on financial decision-making, showed repeatedly that people underestimate the cost of debt and overestimate the returns they'll get from investing. The math almost always favors eliminating high-interest debt first. So wealthy people, the people building real, lasting financial independence, they don't carry 19% credit card balances while putting $1,000 into an index fund. They clear the debt because the math demands it. But let's say your high-interest debt is gone. You've got the buffer. The slate is clean. Now that $1,000 is truly free to work for you, what happens next? This is where something called compound interest enters the picture. You've probably heard the phrase before. But most people treat it like a vague concept rather than a force that physically changes your financial future. Here's what it actually looks like. You invest that $1,000 today. You invest it in a diversified index fund, a basket of hundreds of companies you buy in one simple purchase, and you leave it alone. Historically, the U.S. stock market has returned roughly 7% per year on average after accounting for inflation. At that rate, in 10 years, your $1,000 becomes about $1,967. In 20 years, it becomes $3,869. In 30 years, $7,612. In 40 years, $14,974. You didn't do anything. You didn't monitor it. You didn't trade it. You didn't think about it. You just left it. Now take the same $1,000 and imagine you add $100 a month alongside it, consistently, automatically, for 30 years. That $1,000 plus $36,000 in total contributions becomes, at 7% annual return, roughly $122,000. That is what compound interest actually is, not a concept, a mechanism. One that rewards patience and punishes delay. The Dalbar Research Group publishes an annual study called the Quantitative Analysis of Investor Behavior. Every year, they compare the returns that the average investor actually earns versus what the market itself returns. And every year, the gap is enormous. The average investor massively underperforms the market, not because they picked bad stocks, but because they let emotion drive their decisions. They pulled money out when prices fell. They jumped in when prices peaked. They tried to time it. They lost. Warren Buffett once said that the stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. Wealthy people understand this. They buy. They hold. They stop watching. And here is the counterintuitive truth that most people never figure out. The amount of money you start with matters far less than the habit you build around it. Your first $1,000 is not life-changing on its own. What makes it powerful is what it signals to you about how you treat money. The person who invests $1,000 and then keeps investing $100 a month for 30 years becomes wealthy, not because of the $1,000, but because of the identity they built when they made that first decision. Morgan Housel, in his book, The Psychology of Money, puts it perfectly. He writes that wealth is what you don't see. It's the cars not purchased, the upgrades not taken, the social spending quietly avoided. Every wealthy person you admire is not wealthy because they made more money than you. They are wealthy because, at some point, they decided to keep more of what they earned and put it to work. So let's bring this back to you, right now, today. You get your paycheck. You pay your bills. You have $1,000 sitting in your account. The first question to ask is, do I have a financial buffer of at least 1 month's expenses? If not, that $1,000 is your emergency fund, full stop. If you do, the second question is, do I carry any high-interest debt? If yes, that $1,000 goes there first. If you have your buffer and no high-interest debt, the third question is, am I contributing to a tax-advantaged retirement account? In the US, that's a 401(k) or an IRA. In the UK, it's an ISA. In Canada, it's a TFSA or RRSP. These accounts let your investments grow without being taxed every year, which is a powerful legal advantage that wealthy people use without exception. If you're not using yours yet, that $1,000 is the opening deposit. And if you've covered all of that, the final question is, what investment vehicle am I using? Wealthy people don't pick individual stocks. They buy low-cost index funds, broadly diversified, passively managed, with minimal fees. Funds that track the S&P 500 or the total market. Vanguard, Fidelity, and Schwab all offer them with zero or near zero expense ratios. Set it up, automate monthly contributions, then leave it alone. That is not a secret. It is not a complicated strategy. It is not something only finance professionals can do. It's what wealthy people actually do with their first $1,000. You saved $1,000. You thought it wasn't enough to matter. But that first decision, to protect it, clear the path, and let it work, is the moment your financial future quietly changed direction. The $1,000 didn't make you wealthy. The decision did. Now you know what to do with your first $1,000. If this video changed the way you think about money, even just a little, hit like. It takes 1 second and it tells me to keep making videos exactly like this one. And if you want to know what wealthy people actually do after that first $1,000, how they go from 1,000 to 100,000, and why most people never make that jump, that video is coming next. Subscribe so you don't miss it. I'll see you there.